reorganization meeting to order. First point on the agenda is administering the oath of office to the member of the board, which I gather is me.
Yes,
So who's going to administer the oath? Yeah.
I'm gonna send that down to you and you can read your oath and the other thing is done.
The oath of allegiance, I do hereby pledge and declare I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of Board of Education member of the Canada-Jerry Central School District according to the best of my ability. Hey, I just signed it and I'm
Sign
done.
it and you're.
Don't have that memorized by now?
Okay, so the first point on the agenda is elections, and first is a nomination for president of the Board of Education. Do I have such a nomination?
Nominate Mark?
Second?
Okay, and I guess we have to vote on each one as we go down, or do we want to-
Yeah. each
Yeah, all
one.
right, let's vote on each one. So all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? I'm almost, but I'll go with a yes. All righty, and then we have election of the vice president with power to exercise duties of president in case of absence or disability of president.
I nominate Heidi.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
do I vote? She didn't say yes, but.
You didn't say no, so that's good. Okay, then we got the office of president of the, or administer oath to office of the president of the Board of Education. Not United States.
The United States of America. That's a promotion right there.
Let's see, yours is vice president, second down.
At least you can get paid for that gig.
Okay, I do hereby pledge and declare I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of Board of Education President of the Canada-Jerry Central School District according to the best of my ability. Take it away, Heidi.
I do hereby pledge and declare that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of Board of Education Vice President at the Canada-Jerry Central School District according to the best of my ability.
Okay, much more meaningful with signature than mine.
No practice.
Okay. Okay, so
Congratulations.
thank you. We'll move on to consent appointments. Oh, sorry, Board of Education committees, I missed that. One thing I would like to add is that I think we should add there are two committees that we should add to this. One is the Safety Committee and the other is the Merger Committee.
We're CFP Development Panel. That's what we're gonna call it. It might not be merger, it might be
Okay,
regionalization, stuff like that.
CFP.
CFP Developmental Panel,
CFP
Development Panel.
Development.
Panel.
Okay, so all agree that we can add those two committees and then we'll have to decide who's going to be on them,
Yes.
and the Safety Committee. That would just
Safety,
be,
we've been historically just one, right?
yeah, that's,
Yep.
and the other committee, the CFP committee will require two,
Correct.
both from us and as you indicated, Lori, from Fort Plains. We'll just start with, go down the list. I guess just look at the whole thing. Well, all right, go building and grounds. These are all the current assignments that people have. I guess what I would ask, is there anybody that would like to change anything, or are we happy with where things are at this point before we get to the new committees?
I'm fine with where I'm at.
Yeah, I like that.
We're good? Okay, great. So let's go to the CFP committee. Do we have any volunteers to be on that committee?
That's the merge. CFT.
The.
Yeah.
That's the
Merger
joint committee with
reorganization.
Fort Plain, where we'll see where we go from here.
I'll be on it if you'd like me
Yeah,
to.
I'd like to be on it.
Okay, so Keith and Heidi?
Sure.
Rita? Okay, any other nominations for volunteers? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next. Safety Committee. Anyone would like to volunteer for that?
I would like to, unless somebody else would really like to.
Okay, so that would be Lori. Okay, I would like to, ask for, do we have to call it a consent agenda for that, or just vote on all?
No, you can, it's all in one, so you can just.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the committee assignments.
Motion.
Second,
All in favor? Thank you. Moving right along, annual consent appointments, I would entertain a motion for a consent agenda for these.
motion,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll just go down, district clerk, who's that, Andrea Wu? Okay,
Just a precursor before we start, they're all the same that we've had. The only addition is Nona Bowley because her companies went up a little bit, so we just had to document.
all right, so why don't we just, I don't think we have to go through each one, just kind of look down the list and see if you have any questions about any of them.
It's nice to have some consistency for sure, to change things.
are those sub rates the same or did they increase?
Increase because the local communities increase, so we always go over. Yeah,
Got it.
so we can steal the rest of the substance.
So just let me know when you're finished going through the list. Everybody? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second,
All in favor? Thank you. And then we get to authorizations. And again, I would entertain a motion for consent agenda.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Thank you.
Nothing different here.
Doesn't say who the voting supervisor would be, do we? You have that yet? or no?
No, we don't appoint that until April.
Okay. Okay, any questions on this? I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda for authorization.
motion,
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and the next point is the presentation by Cuse. So take it away, Cuse.
Andrea, I emailed and I wasn't sure if that could be presented up here on the board for visual purposes. Hey, everybody, Chad Eggleston. This is Agent for Hughes, you guys are familiar with that. I just want to start with two remarks before we started. I wanted to thank Dr. Fitzgerald first in front of the board. That through this entire process, he has kept it completely not contentious in any capacity. He's been very formal about, hey, this is just procedure, and we appreciate that because this is new to us. I know all of you as board members have been involved in the union for greater than 20 years, have never gone to this process to this extent. So even though we've gotten to this extent, he has been with the utmost professionalism. We wanted to thank him for that. So thank you.
Vice versa.
Thank you. And so we wanted to also thank the Board of Education for this opportunity because we've never had this chance to have to do this. So this is just, I know this is a little tiny, hard for us to see. We have some printed copies if it'd be easier, but it's just kind of want to take maybe no more than 10 minutes of your time to kind of walk us through.
Excuse me, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Can you pass out those
Absolutely.
copies?
Yeah.
So you can look at them later.
Thanks. So part of this level of grievance of the presentation is really about understanding and versions of the way we see the contract versus the way the district has viewed the contract. It is not about we're right or in this case, Dr. Fitzgerald was wrong, which has nothing to do with right or wrong here. We felt like it's just interpretation wise. And that briefly, we wanted to just kind of point out history of the language in which we're, the grievance started with. It started over personal interpretation. And it happened to be that we went back and viewed a portion of the contract as Dr. Fitzgerald and I both agree, we kind of view it differently at different parts of the language. So our focus has been on really the specific beginning part of the language that had been in the contract from 1968 to 2012. Virtually the language didn't change at all from 68 to 2012. It remained very much the same. Minor adjustments to the language had something to do with superintendent approval. In 1968, I think it just was a blatant statement about the uses of personal time. And then after that, maybe in the mid-70s, I think we found there was a language where it became an approval process where we had to contact the superintendent. That language really remained pretty much unchanged until 2012. In 2013, with under the superintendent, Debbie Grimshaw, we negotiated changes to the contract that gave 2 of those 5 personal days. Had been 5 personal days since 1968. And 2 of those days we have negotiated to be what that was called in the contract as undesignated days. Those days,
What are they called?
undesignated. Those days being undesignated did not need any prior approval from the superintendent and were viewed as use of for personal business use, okay? With that remained for that 30-year contract that we had until we renegotiated again in 2017. And that lasted into 2021, where that same language just included now a 3rd personal day. So out of the 5 personal days in total, 3 of those days continue to be what we refer to as undesignated days. They did not need prior approval, and they simply were, again, for personal business, right? In 2022, under the negotiations with Dr. Fitzgerald, those days were under discussion again. The same kind of discussion that we had had probably for 10 years or more previous to this. The same kind of point was to say that these days for personal business didn't require approval from the superintendent because it was somewhat subjective, and that we wanted it and agreed to under Dr. Fitzgerald of 5 days without loss of pay for personal business during the school year. No prior approval was needed for all the days. The reason the word undesignated was removed at that point is because we recognize there's now no need to distinguish between the days. Some were undesignated, some were not. They all became undesignated. That was kind of part of our negotiations, what we felt and in our understanding, those days would be used for personal business, but certainly not to make the district look poorly. We were all in agreement from that point on and through our conversations that somebody wasn't to use those days, as our language currently states, to extend school holidays, vacations, or recesses without having a conversation or without approval from the superintendent. And though that language remained in the contract. Well, these days though, did give us some latitude for use them for our personal business. So the reason for this grievance kind of came to be when a person sought to use a personal day for a religious event with her husband, who was a pastor, and she wanted to attend this conference with him and was denied the day of the personal use. We felt like that was where the violation began. The conversation started around it. So we really are just trying to remedy, and our purpose of our today was just to say, hey, we have seen the language progressively change since 2013 with active negotiations as part of our benefits package for an employee of the district to have those personal days of use for our use. Now, again, there was some understanding that certain days couldn't be used, vacations couldn't be extended without a 30-day notice. There were certain events would come up that we had to seek out approval, but this didn't need approval. The person wasn't using it for anything other than a personal business, and she was denied that personal day use, okay? Can I slide this up, or can you?
No, it's not.
If you don't mind, just a little bit. We recognize that really fell under some really contractual contradictions. In our 2022 negotiations, we have an audio recording that we went back and just to review of some of the conversations we had. And Dr. Fitzgerald and I both had an active conversation at that point about that there was language in the contract that just seems to not be fitting. Like there's just language that doesn't fit any longer. It doesn't fit not for any other reason than as times change, things occur, we just don't need them any longer, or there's redundancies, or they just don't apply. One of which we found, just as a point of note, still in this specific contract, under, I think it's Article 16, all teachers shall be required to pass a satisfactory physical examination once a year by September 1st of the school year. Clearly, none of us have to go to the doctor and get a physical to be able to attend work. But the language still remains here, as does other language throughout the contract. It just seems contradictory. There's a language in here that says that in our contract, that says the teachers will be provided a phone number that if you're going to be absent from school, you can contact and let them know you're not going to be absent. Well, that's our self-service. No, we don't have a phone number, right? These are all things built into the contract that have maybe been there since the 60s that they don't apply any longer. And the language that we are under the impression of, and the language that Dr. Fitzgerald was under the impression of, are just the same kind of thing. Redundancies and contractual contradictions that just no longer apply. And again, even in that conversation we had at the negotiating table, we both were in agreement that we really probably should sit down and go through it with a fine-tooth comb and maybe kind of clean up some of those languages. If you could just, you just slide that up for just one moment for me. This will be my last point. Really our remedy, and in closing, all we were hoping for is to come to a resolution. That we understand that sometimes that there's going to be, wait a minute, it says right here you can, and wait, this says something different. We both agree that may be the case. But there's just things that no longer fit. They don't fit to what we have in the way that the workspace works today. It just doesn't fit. And then we feel that with the help of the Board of Education, we'd be happy to open up to some sort of level of negotiations where we could come up with some current practice that work better for our current practice. We're really just looking for a resolution that says, hey, yeah, why don't you get together and figure this out and figure out how we can move forward where both parties really fit with what the current practice should be. The referred languages are right here. Now they are simple snips just for you to see of where we were specifically targeting from 2013, 18, and 2025. The omission is in there. All those contracts are available to you, and we're not omitting anything not for you to see. But this was the point where we were focusing on throughout this whole grievance process. The board has 30 days as part of the resolution in our contract. They have 30 days. We don't expect any decisions to be made. We just want an opportunity to come speak with all of you, let you know we thank you for your time, but to also say this has been our version. It's a little differently because, you know, the person used a day unknowingly thinking that the day was being misused or going to be lost of pay. She thought she was following the contract to the nature of what she had available to her, only to find out that that day was being said, no, you could not. So it was again kind of that, wait a minute, we're just at a misunderstanding. We're hoping that, you know, we take into consideration that over time, the language has changed and that we all can kind of come to agreement that it's time for us to come to something that we can all agree on. So with that, I have nothing else, but I thank you all. If you have any questions,
I have one question. During Debbie's period, I remember there was an effort to clean up the contract. Can I have?
Yeah.
Okay, good. An effort to clean up the contract language and go through, and it was quite a task. So it was an ongoing thing to get rid of obsolete language and so on and so forth. So over those years, the last whatever period of time, have you been going through the contract and weeding that out?
we have never formally sat down and went through to negotiate any specific changes. It's been discussed because there are redundancies, things that no longer apply. I mean, these were just a few that we found to be a little silly. Like again, there might be another one in there about all employees, all new hires must have a satisfactory physical done by the physician, the school's physician, paid for by the Board of Education prior to their employment. And we all recognize these are just things that like, yeah, that doesn't fit anymore. Now, had we gone through with a fine tooth comb, I'm certain there would have been times that Dr. Fitzgerald and myself, if I was the one in charge, we would have had further conversation about it. Like, wait, this should stay. And I'd be like, no, this should not stay, right? We've never had that point. But there are just different things that we looked at and we just were kind of like, it's a little silly at this point, right? Things just evolved and we need to get to the point where we're like, yeah, you know what? We need to make some changes.
Thank you.
Okay, well, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you for your presentation. We certainly will look at this carefully and discuss it and get back to you.
Yeah.
And then we can have, some kind of negotiation about it to hopefully resolve the issue.
We like I said, we just appreciate, this is a first time for all of us.
And I gave him everything, like we went,
Yeah.
the steps, so I gave him copies of all that.
Okay, yeah, and again, like I said, thanks to Dr. Fitzgerald, he is procedurally a guy who says, this is not, those words being used, yeah, this is not personal at all, right? He's used those words, this is all about procedure, so this is just for us the same, a procedure, we're just thankful we had the opportunity to follow through the procedure to this point. So we appreciate you guys, have a great rest of your summer.
And again,
might get a
I've been on the board for 17 years and this is my first experience with
Yeah.
You just might get a lower tip at the end.
You okay? Listen, I'm hoping it. I'm hoping it. So, okay.
Thanks very much, guys.
These guys dressed up in this formal dress today, and they left me off the memo here. I just left the campground, so I'm on my way back.
I have no excuse, but
Well, listen, you and I must have been on that same email chain. These guys, created this. So, guys, thank you so much for everything. We appreciate what you guys do, and we
Thanks.
appreciate your time.
Thank you, rest of the summer, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I already missed it.
Hurry.
Yeah. you're right.
Wait for that. Okay, well, we have 10 minutes to kill.
You want to-
You gotta turn those.
Said what's in there.
Oh, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the reorganization meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
You bet.
Thank you.
We did go through some of that language, but we're.
The first point on the agenda is questions or comments from the floor, unless there's a ghost here, I think we're here.
Just a
There are
quick
none.
question. Did we do all the president and vice president?
Yeah, you're both.
You are everything.
You're running all the committees.
And that's two new committees.
The high school committee assignments are all the same. Committee
Okay.
assignments are all the same. We added, the joint committee with Fort Plain,
Okay,
which Keith and Heidi agreed to. be
Nice.
on,
nice.
And Lori agreed to be on the safety committee.
Unless something meant a lot to you, then I would.
Nope, I'm very happy, thank you.
Okay, so
Sorry, I have to wear my sunglasses because I don't have it.
So the first thing we need to discuss is our board self-evaluation. What I think would probably be the best procedure is there is a template that we could use, which NISBA has. And so I'd like to suggest that I send that out to the board members, we complete the template, and then have a meeting to go over it and resolve any questions that remain. Does that sound fun? So I would like to, so what we need to decide, well, we have an August meeting. So why don't we, in August, I will get that out to you in the next week or so. And then in the August meeting, we can pick a date that's mutually agreeable to go over. Is that okay?
August 6th is the meeting, I believe.
Well, no, August 6th is the board retreat.
Right. Right. I was gonna offer up to, if you want to come out to my house for that board retreat, if you want to get out to school.
That was
You want to do that? Would that be okay? Got a nice big round table outside?
Sure. All right, and it's close to the,
I know, but don't go very far.
Okay, so like I said, I'll get out the template for you, and we can fill it out, and then in August, we'll decide what to get together and go over, okay? All right, so moving on to the superintendent update, take it away, Nick.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. We just talked about we're calling it the CFP Developmental Panel, which is the committee for the merger and reorganization, that type of stuff. I sent stuff out to the faculty. I had like 5 responses, so we only need 2 people there. And we decided tonight that it would be Keith and Heidi to go onto that committee. As we know, we have a changeover in Fort Plain. I talked to Lauren today. I was hoping that she would put something out to the faculty ASAP, because I just don't want to push this until October again. And so they're in a little bit of a turnover situation. So I would maybe suggest, if you know anybody on the board, to reach out to them and explain, can we kind of keep this moving? You know what I mean? And put a committee together. In a perfect world, I think we talked about timing. If it was ever going to go up for a merger again, I just don't think we want to put ourselves past the first week of November for a second vote. I don't think. I still firmly believe, and I hope this board agree, I think you do. I don't think we want to get into this January vote and merge in July. I just don't think we do. And I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I think it would be, the summers, you kind of get a little reprieve to take a breath. that would be a nightmare time. So anyway, I still think we can move it along. I know some people I would, like to pick from the committee. We already have our 2 here. So if we can at least have a meeting maybe before the next board meeting, it would be nice to then present some of our recommendations already.
Who's gonna set that up? Who's directing that? Will contact us and like that.
I would maybe reach out to some members who you might know and say where you guys think you could be at this point. And because super over there is kind of,
I know, it's.
moving, and if they wait for the interim doesn't know the history. So them being on the committee, I don't think would help either, because they don't know what the plight is. You know what I mean? They can maybe grab an extra board member if they want, put them on there, but we know where we're going with it. You know what I mean, in terms of what the process is. Whether that comes out to say, hey, let's continue on with the merger, or it says, let's not, whatever. But to hold it up, I think, just puts us all in this game of waiting,
Can I ask a question? So they
Yeah.
have not yet chosen their 2 members.
They chose their 2 members from their board, but not from their faculty. So I asked Lauren today, asked superintendent over there, to please send an email out on Monday to their faculty and staff to see if anybody would be interested in doing a meeting, but nothing has been set in stone in terms of, there was a comment about waiting for the interim to come in. That interim would be end of August, September, and then we know as an interim comes in, they're not gonna worry about that right now, so I think our plight was, let's get this moving, and I thought at our last meeting that was the case, remember? Because originally was they didn't wanna do it over the summer, then we said we put this committee together,
Right.
we could do it over the summer,
Right.
right? And then put a recommendation back to the boards.
Right.
So I would, and I understand their situation, they're in flux right now, right? So they're moving around, but let's not hold progression up for our kids in the future because of that progression, right? So
Who are the 2 board members from Fort Plain?
I don't know who they are.
It was Brenna, and I guess we'd have to check the minutes to be sure.
But even if you reached
I think
out
it
to
was Kate.
some people who you knew from the board and said, hey, where are you guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've had ongoing conversations with Brenna. I would be glad to do that.
She is remaining the president. She was elected last night, so.
Okay, so I'll
Neil's got some
contact
connections.
Brenna and encourage her to move things along and get the faculty members and say that, we would like to have a meeting. And I'll tell her who we have designated and that we'd like to move ahead with a meeting in August.
I would say very beginning of August, the end of July, because our meeting is August 10th.
Okay.
So have a meeting at
End
least
of
a week
July.
before that meeting to have at least some preliminary discussions,
It sounded like there was some frustration by board members that the superintendent process is being held up by not knowing what's happening. So it kind of felt like that's more incentive to have the meetings and get to the determination of what this is gonna be. If
Either
it's
way.
holding you up, then get moving on it so it can stop holding you up. In
Agreed.
other words,
And I'm not here to fault anybody here, but I understand the current superintendent's coming too. She's trying to clean up, get on to the next job, but in the meantime, we can't stop our progression, so that's what I would kind of suggest.
All right, so I will reach out to Brenna and then I'll get in touch with you both and you as well.
And I'll reach out to the people who wanted to, be a part of it and tell them, we're ready for the committee, we just want dates yet.
And I'm hearing a lot of interest from our community. I can't speak to theirs, but I did have a garage sale for 3 days. And I must have, when appropriate, I spoke, and mostly they were village residents because we were discussing other things. But item 1B was their feelings on that. And I only had one person, as an employee, support, that wasn't sure about what it would offer, benefits as soon as whatever. But I'm not exaggerating when I say there were probably 25, at least, good families, parents, that were all for it. And some of them just didn't know some of the details. Some were out of town, some were this, some were that. But that close number, just based on my conversations, I'm confident.
I just think we can't get hung up in the negative. That's why when I said at the last meeting, what's our goal? We don't know what our goal is. It's the progression of students and programs for our kids, right? Don't let, whatever that may be, if it turns out to be not a merger, that's fine, but let's continue our progression and don't let it be held up because of negativity or a group of people who might not like something, because that's always gonna be there.
But in addition, as you know, of all the benefits for the students, this particular community and the taxes that they're going through,
Sure.
not that it should be about money, but that is certainly something they're bringing up that we can't forget, at least village residents, why that was not an issue then, but it's certainly an issue now as far as financial
I think it's
stability.
it's a great example of what's
Yeah.
gonna happen if we don't start
Right.
Exactly.
getting ahead.
And that's the kind of thing they kept saying to me.
And why have our kids suffer? Why have it go through? And that's what's happened in these murders. Kids have suffered for a year or two before it happens, so. And again, maybe the committee comes together and both boards decide not to, that's fine too, but we'd be crazy not to broach it. You know my feelings on it, I'm strongly for it, I just think it's best for kids and I think it's best for the future of the programming for our kids. And we're not behind, but this world's moving very fast. And if we don't give our kids these opportunities, we're missing out for them.
I just don't wanna get caught up in like this series of meetings, because this is
I know.
also like a meeting that could be an email. It's a pretty simple,
You would,
it's a very simple conversation.
Yeah.
So
we could,
we don't need to have 3 meetings before we do a
we
vote.
do not.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's discuss it and let's get going, yeah, so work on that. Nick and I are presenting at the Rural Schools Conference on Monday up in Placid for academies, which will be a nice presentation. Again, Mark, we gotta meet, we'll talk, we're presenting in October at the NISBA conference in New York City on board governance and how well we all get along, so works out.
We get along?
Yes. Preliminary numbers, we started our capital project rollout. It's always frustrating to see the numbers. A couple years ago, we had $24 million in a building condition survey to fix everything. And then we did a $7 million project, we had the geothermal of 14, which would take off some of that, plus the 7. So in your mind, you're like, wow, we come into 27 million, we should be fine. But now there's $40 million of improvements to make, right? So we looked at it thoroughly, Mark, Leah, and the group next week, or the next week already, 17th? Oh, it's next week already, oh my God. We'll be looking at the granular piece of what Steve and I and the group said was high priority, medium priority, low priority. And I think we're gonna come in around 27 million. So it'll be interesting to see where those pieces fall. Then we'll put a committee together from stakeholders from our community, and then we'll roll it out. The 97% of this is needs. The 3% of it's a want, you know what I mean, in terms of certain things, so just to make sure we fix, but it allows us to really get updated, and let's think about this, you ready? 27 million, 7 million current project, $14 million project, and a $3 million project on the solar. $50 million worth of projects in the last 5 or 7 years. So we should be where we should be for our facilities, so, and that didn't cost the taxpayers a dime.
July 16th meeting.
July,
16th.
let me just make sure. It's the 17th, 17th at 10 a.m.
That's building and grounds, right?
Yes. Well, that's just with you and this one.
Oh,
Yeah, that was just the board. Now, both can come, that's fine. It was both on the board, buildings and grounds.
I don't know, I have to go back and. Who's on building and grounds? Anyone remember?
Not me.
If you can make it next week,
I could make it next.
10 o'clock?
Yep.
Perfect.
What's the date, Nick?
17th at 10 a.m. up at the high school,
What day though?
Thursday.
We're
Yeah.
at the
Conference room, yep, and we'll have, King will be there, and so won't, Schoolhouse, which is our managers of, the project, so.
You'll send something out.
Yes,
Okay, are you finished?
I am all set at this point.
Okay. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion for a consent agenda
Motion?
for approvals.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so we'll just run down the minutes for the joint meeting with floodplain. Any comments there, questions? Then we have minutes for the regular meeting from June 18th that followed the joint meeting.
No questions.
Any questions? No? Okay. Bills, as usual, I have a few.
Okay.
Sorry to tell you. You ready? Okay. 67,188, Amazon Capital Services, $3,000. What is that for?
Amazon. Amazon, we buy a lot of stuff from Amazon.
Oh, we do.
Mhm.
Why do we call it capital service?
That's just who the check has to be paid out to, they have a bank,
Okay, so that's just we bought junk from them.
it's like Capital One.
Okay,
Good stuff.
I mean, stuff, sorry. Okay, sorry. One of the things, I just want to raise this and, you know, is there any opportunity to buy any of this stuff from local businesses versus from I know it's very easy from Amazon, but.
Well,
I
same
mean,
money,
we
you
do
can't
like
do it.
Hummels and stuff or office supplies, that's local. Other than that, a lot of stuff now comes from Amazon. There's no other place around here, you know, sucks.
Okay,
Dollar
I just
store,
have,
yeah,
I just
stuff
have.
like a dollar store, you know, stuff like that, but. Well, I mean, the one over in Concord sometimes, or like Johnstown, but it's not, yeah. Now it's Amazon.
Then 67,231 and check number 102 and 105, all to SEI.
Yeah, that's our architect.
Yeah, but I thought that we would, we're not gonna have them.
They still continue to the last project.
Oh, so this is
Yeah.
tying up the last project that they were.
They're on the geothermal as well, because they were built into it. Remember, these things are.
No, I was just wondering, you know, because I know that we made the decision to, you know, transition to King and King.
Correct. They'll be, the King will be on the capital projects
Okay,
and all projects thereafter.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's what was just confusing to me. Okay, then my last one is 67,130. What is Crown Company Incorporated?
That's.
RH Crown.
Yeah, that's what, one of Steve's companies that he uses for supplies. They're out of Johnstown, they were out of Johnstown, but they just got bought out by bigger,
That their supplies?
They're chemicals.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like a Helen Marks kind of place.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions on bills? Probably not.
No.
Okay, so moving along, treasurer's report, anything there? And budget transfer schedule? And surplus? And district safety plan? Thank you for adding the designations, I appreciate it. Sure. Okay, and then the Bassett Health,
Same agreement, just up the cost a little bit.
that's just for the health, the physical exams.
Yeah.
Cooperative bidding for Capital Region BOCES, that has to do with food service. Okay. Agreement for math and ELA consultants, you wanna just?
Yeah, this
give
is
some
through the
background?
grants for the target district.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are, they want us to go through either BOCES or be consultants, and
Mhm.
BOCES is $700 an hour without aid because it's grant money. So we decided to contract them individually.
Yeah.
They just don't come for the day, they're to be doing outside work as well. So they're contracted for a certain amount of days, but they're also doing outside stuff at the end of the day and also analyticals and data stuff before they come in. So they're actually doing other stuff outside. They came recommended from BOCES who was working for them, so we're kind of like that.
Okay, so any other questions about those two?
And I'm sorry, just to echo again, you know how we get aid from BOCES?
Mhm.
But because this is grant money, you can't get aid and grant money. So when you go through BOCES, you don't get the kickback.
Okay, then moving on to the annual agreement with BOCES. Any questions there?
I won't ask questions or I'd be here all night.
Now it's like, what the heck?
Reach out
I
anytime.
ran through the whole thing,
It's a lot on there.
Yeah, there is.
$3 million worth.
Bond resolutions,
We're actually down. Not tuition. It is tuition.
oh, I'm sorry, yes. Tuition rates, any questions there?
No.
Definitions of who is eligible and not eligible.
Same, pretty much,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, and, student electronic devices,
So one we had to redo because of our esteemed governor.
and then finally bond resolution.
I'll take a chance to read all that.
That's fine.
This is for the geothermal project.
By the way, I was just wondering if I was inside, I haven't seen anything moving on the solar project. I thought there was.
August,
Oh, August,
Yeah.
originally it was July, I thought, right?
that's what I thought too.
Okay.
What's the boom truck over there for?
I don't know, actually. It's a good question. Yeah, I noticed that the other day.
Yeah,
Oh, the air handling
Is
units.
that, oh, is that where they put it?
for
Okay.
the what?
The air handling units, they just.
That's what I told my husband. He was running it by day or by job?
Put it up in the transportation garage? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we should start seeing some things going on up there in
Yeah.
August.
Yeah, still say operational by December, so.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion,
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Moving on to personnel, again, I would entertain a motion for a consent agenda.
motion.
Second,
All in favor? So we have the resignation of the monitor.
Someone took the full-time aide, so the flip happens.
New agenda item,
Yep, sorry, that should say appoint monitor.
We had to appoint one more monitor for summer school because of a
No, that's not
special
correct.
placement.
That's the replacement of the monitor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay, anything there? Accept the resignation of the math teacher.
What happened there?
She moved back to Coxsackie,
Um,
so she found a job in math, you can go find a job.
yeah,
You know what I
How
mean?
many years was she here now?
4.
Yeah.
So,
She have tenure?
yeah. Shame, but you're an hour, 40 minutes away.
She's that far away.
No, she moved there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, then we have appoint 2025, 26 advisors.
But we already have a good catch on the math teacher, so. we're kind of-
you what?
We might already have a good catch on the math teacher.
Oh, good.
We'll see.
Anything on the advisors? Then we have,
What
What
is the-
swim instructor?
One question, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
What is the CHIPS Club?
That's the middle school
No school character building.
What is
character building.
character building?
okay, and then swim instructor, which is
Lindsay?
Lindsay and Karen. I was just wondering, now, these are not teachers, are they? Who's the swim instructor?
No, well, one,
Carries.
Carrie is.
Carrie
Okay.
Bowers, yeah.
Lindsay's the cross.
Swim club coach.
Yeah, is she the one you have in store for math teacher? Is she the
She's
math?
a math person,
No,
yeah.
you don't think she's a math teacher?
No.
Never mind.
Excuse me,
So what,
possibility.
so how do we use these people? What are they, who they instruct and how?
Summer swim lessons.
Oh, summer swim.
They
yeah.
have,
Not their school.
yeah, I don't know, they're.
No, that's
number
what
of
was
students
confused.
this summer.
We have
Really?
like 60 kids for summer, right? No,
Summer,
80.
130
Oh,
Wow.
130.
over the whole.
Oh, smokes.
Yeah, they had an added extra section,
Wow, no, is that?
so they need.
Okay,
Wow,
Cool.
that's
That's
awesome.
what you did tell me.
Yeah.
okay, and then when summer transportation.
This is the one I said we had to add the extra. 3 special placements this year.
And that would be Isabel Herget.
Yes. Son's on the other bus and the other son's cleaning the other buses.
Okay, if there's no further questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda for personnel.
Motion.
second,
All in favor?
Yep.
Thank you. Moving on to old business, the retreat is scheduled for August 6th at 4 p.m. at Abbey's. And we need to have a discussion about what we would like to discuss.
Okay, one thing I was thinking of, So maybe this should have been a second meeting in one of the months or whatever, but when Nick was talking about the AP program, I'm just very curious about where we are right now, because things might have changed since I've been here. Just doing it, and just kind of like, what do we offer, you know, in each one, and how many kids are taking AP exams? Who's not, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Are they in class and not taking an exam? That's one of my concerns.
In class,
So if you're taking an AP exam, but then you go, oh, I'm not gonna take the test.
oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
That always created a problem in my class, and we got away from it. I never let anybody not take the test, and all of a sudden it was a problem,
Yeah.
and it's like, no.
I'd say one good stat, I
Otherwise you're not.
can't wait to see it, is because of the academies, every kid has to take at least a college or AP exam.
Mhm.
From the academies,
Mhm.
so we should start to roll next couple of years of 30, 40 kids every class, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if kids go off to college and take a class, great, you know, but if you're in here, I think it's important.
And we offer college classes here.
So, the math, the calculus, it always was, you could do one or the other, AP or class. Well, just from my research, the AP class is transferable to a lot more colleges. Where the state, you know, you take the state tests.
I,
Then the state test,
we're
you're
almost up, we're getting close.
get like you can go to state schools and get credit. You know, so it's like with AP, you can get credit for all the schools. And then if you like take it at a community college, a lot of the tier 1 schools don't take that credit. If you want to say that. So I'm just curious.
Sounds good.
There's something else, I never looked at my notes.
I was just wondering, you know, this math and ELA issues that we're having. I think that would be good to discuss that and see what, if anything, we might come up with in terms of new
Yeah.
initiatives that might address that.
That's what I have too, because I just wanted to know, since COVID happened and we switched over to, you know, having the tracking system, right? You're going to math teacher only and English teacher only instead of within the classroom. Are we still seeing gains in that in the elementary school? Well, I just would like to see the, you know, see how it's
They
going.
report them out every year.
Yeah, I know. So what's the problem between the elementary and then the middle school?
Right.
So, you know, so what are the scores like in both of those, you know?
And why?
And then even at the high school, you know, like how many kids are going on and taking 4 years of math? Are they just dropping out after 2? Right?
And why we're seeing these difficulties in, you know. in-
Well, we all know the middle school kids are a little squirrely, but.
Everybody has middle school kids.
Hmm?
But everybody has middle school kids.
Oh, I know, I understand.
So anyhow, I think that would be an interesting discussion.
Yep.
Yep,
If everyone
definitely.
agrees. Anything else?
That was my second.
So we're on the same page?
Yep.
Can't believe it.
What do you mean, Mark?
All right, so, the last thing we need to just go over quickly is dinner.
Yeah, do you want me to make something? I can make something.
Bring some.
If you'd
Or
be
do
willing.
y'all want to
would you be
bring
willing
something? We can all do a hodgepodge type thing or whatever, yeah. I could make the main meal if you guys all want to bring something on the side.
All right, so
What do you think you want? Don't forget that. I can do a nice shrimp scampi though.
Whatever you think is good.
yeah, so why don't we do, you know, people can bring dishes and you can do the main course.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Like I would bring like maybe a vegetable dish.
okay,
That you were gonna say.
You want me to bring your
I thought you were gonna say shrimp.
that sounds good. I mean, if you want to have barbecue, you can do barbecue, you know? That's what there's a good barbecue rib. Sound good?
That's a great idea.
Okay, perfect. Corn on the cob, anybody? I'll give corn on the cob. too. Okay.
Be available then. should be.
There's a sweet corn.
I know, I'm kidding right now, it's mealy. Have you had that stuff at the race shop lately? Jeez, it's like,
Yeah, but Hannaford's is wonderful.
yeah, I know Hanford's is wonderful. Just a little bit of a drive, that's all.
Patty, what's your street address?
1234 Latimer Hill Road, Latiner.
Thank you.
Hopefully it won't rain.
Okay, so we'll all bring a dish and Patty will do the main barbecue and sweet corn.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, there's no new business. No finance. Nope. Anyone else have new business? Then we can recess into executive session.
Motion to recess.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Have a good
So,
evening.
yeah,
Thank you, Chair. Which I would ask Andrew to read, please.
So resolved that the Board of Education hereby denies the grievance filed by Fuse as it relates to the use of personal leave.
Do I have a second?
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Is there anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion to go home. You got it.
I get.
We know on the other.